Hello everyone, I'm JG. Welcome back to Music Forever, where today I'm reviewing the new Depeche Mode album, Spirit. Now, Depeche Mode is a band that I have been a casual fan of for a while now. I'm not super familiar with all their albums or anything like that. However, some of their older albums I am a really big fan of, especially Violator. I love that album. So when I heard they had a new album coming out, I decided, why not check it out? I could review it and stuff. Even though I haven't heard a lot of their recent output, I could still, I guess, jump on board now, see what they're up to, and if things don't work out well, just don't review it. And overall, I really don't feel like I missed, too much going on. Maybe lots of things have happened in their career, kind of since the newest album I've heard from them, which is probably released sometime in the 90s. But, I don't really feel like I was lost going into this album. Overall, I think that this is a decent album. It has some strong points and it has some definite weak points that, I'm going to go into detail with now. One thing I feel definitely needs to be addressed are the lyrics that are very overtly political, and I hate talking about politics, and I don't listen to music to get political opinions, and I don't always even agree with musicians and their political beliefs or anything like that. I can listen to music of people from across all the political spectrum and really not care too much, because really to me music is about experiencing different things at times, and getting to experience someone else's view concerning a political issue is at times interesting to me. So even if I don't agree with what someone is saying, I can agree with it here. And I'm not saying I disagree with a lot of things Depeche Mode are saying here. They're definitely saying some stuff that I do agree with. It's just really the way that they're saying it. And I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but it really does make a big difference. And an album I'm going to be comparing this album to a lot in this review, funny enough, is the new Havoc album, Conformicide, that just came out like a week before this album was released. And you might be thinking to yourself, JG, Depeche Mode and Havoc? What do you see there? Like, one's kind of a synth-pop electronic rock group and the other is a thrash metal band. Well, the reason why I'm comparing the two is because both bands' newest albums are very overtly political. However, one does it in a way that's a lot better than the other. And if you couldn't figure out by now, it's the Havoc album that does it a bit better. And I don't always like comparing albums, but I feel like here, especially given that these albums were just released like next to each other pretty much, the comparison has to be made by me, and especially it kind of shows why I don't like the lyrics on this Depeche Mode album quite as much. The lyrics here on Spirit, they feel very much kind of like a middle schooler who just kind of learned that the world actually sucks and not everything is good once they leave mom and dad's house. And they just took out all their anger in writing down the first few things that came to their mind. Honestly, this isn't stuff that you couldn't find by just going onto Twitter or something like that and, coming across political talk. It's not very deep or complex. It doesn't really offer anything new in terms of political lyrics. And that's not even just concerning political lyrics here in 2017 or 2016, of course, with all this political drama that's been going on in the world. A lot of these lyrics are even applied to politics back in older times, even going back to like the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s. Lots of these political themes that have just kind of been, just very obvious because they're just reoccurring themes in politics and just the world in general. And, they're just kind of, once again, regurgitated here, but with nothing really new to them. I've kind of heard a lot of these lyrics before, just done in better ways, or if not better ways, just done before a lot earlier. Now, comparing it to the Havoc album, that album also had lyrics that were very, on the nose, very obvious. You really don't have to think much about them to understand what they're saying. However, the difference between Depeche Mode and Havoc is that Havoc is a very aggressive thrash metal band. And, thrash metal, by its nature, is kind of a mix of heavy metal and punk music. So, of course, you're going to have, punk music is very political. You have that kind of, naturally mixing together. And you have a very aggressive sort of sound that kind of matches with, very obvious lyrics. On that album, when they're saying very obvious things, it's not exactly just what they're saying, but it's how they're saying it in a very aggressive manner. It's just kind of like they're going out to someone whose the opinion they don't agree with, and they're like, wake up! And, it just kind of works a lot better there. But, with Depeche Mode, they're not a very aggressive group, kind of just with the genre of music that they play. And as a result of that, the lyrics here are kind of a lot more obvious and, at times don't quite match up with the instrumentals, and the lyrics stand out a lot more here is I think what I'm trying to get at, and it doesn't quite match up as well with the music, and as a result of that, it can feel kind of disjointed. Now, as I said earlier, I believe, I really don't judge people based on their political opinions, and if you agree with these lyrics, I mean, like I said before, I agree with some of the stuff that they're saying here, but if you, really much agree with these lyrics, and as a result of that, you love these lyrics just for that reason alone, I'm okay with that. But I also have to address the issue that some of these lyrics just seem really condescending, especially, on the tracks like "Where's the Revolution" and the chorus, he's just asking like "Where's the revolution?" and I don't know, it just feels really condescending, like he's looking down on everyone. He's just like, "Where's the revolution, guys? I mean, stuff sucks, but what are you guys doing? Why aren't you guys doing something?" It just feels really condescending in my opinion. And on the last track, "Fail," also, it just kind of, he's just kind of, in this track I have another problem with, is that at times it feels hopeful, like things could get better, but other times he's just like, "Nope, we failed, we screwed up, the earth is doomed." And I really don't know, maybe there's just a bigger meaning that I missed, but it's just, I don't know. It just feels kind of condescending at times. He's just kind of like, "Nope, you humans, you screwed up way too many times, and now look what you've done. You've elected a sweet potato into office." And then there's the track "So Much Love," which just feels like a really big pat on the back, except that Depeche Mode are giving it to themselves. He's talking about how they have so much love, and it's kind of talking about how in the world today there's lots of people that hate on other people for, stupid reasons and things like that. And it's definitely like an issue that I can understand making a song about. It's something that, if you told me it was a song idea, it makes sense in my opinion, but it's just the way it's presented here. It just kind of feels like a big, they're patting themselves on the back, as I said before. It's just talking about how they have so much love, and it just really kind of feels like they're saying, "We have so much love. No one else has as much love as we do, and all you other people, just because you have a different opinion than me, you have no love. You have poison in your heart." And that's the previous track, "Poison in Your Heart," where he's just kind of calling out someone for having, poison in their heart. Of course, that kind of implying that they're a bad person. I wonder who he's talking about. Not so subtle here. But yeah, as I said before, the lyrics, it's not exactly what they're saying, it's just how they're delivering it. It's just so kind of basic and elementary, and, it just doesn't really work with the style of music that they make. The lyrics just appear very obvious and very simple. Like, they really wanted to make political lyrics here, and I can understand why, but, they're not very good at making political lyrics, is what I'm trying to say. There are also some lyrical moments that just seem really silly in my opinion, such as the track "Where's the Revolution," where at one point in the bridge song, he's like, "The train is coming, the train is coming." It's just like the weirdest thing ever. I mean, I get the metaphor of like the train coming and stuff like that. It's just that this metaphor doesn't appear in any other part of the song really. It just kind of comes in randomly at the bridge, and it just feels so random, and it kind of even seems funny at times. Like, I feel like when he's saying it, I just picture like Thomas the Tank Engine like coming down the tracks about to hit someone or something. And that's funny because I was talking to someone earlier today about, Thomas the Tank Engine, just, completely random. This is kind of weird to bring up, but, two completely random things where I mentioned that today. That's just weird in my opinion. Funny story I thought I'd share, but, I mean, I don't even think I've watched that since I was like 3. Wow, I'm old. But yeah, back to the lyrics, this just seems really silly in my opinion. It just doesn't, like, it's not coherently put together is really what I'm trying to say. It's just because they had a bunch of ideas and kind of threw them together. And now that I've kind of just ranted out against the lyrics here, as I said before, I'm not exactly disagreeing with what they're trying to say here, it's more how they're trying to say it that I'm not really a fan of. I want to go into the good things on this album, and, there are a considerable amount of them in my opinion. For starters, the instrumentals here, very good. Of course, it's Depeche Mode, and you have a synth-pop kind of electronic rock sound here going on, and I think it works nicely for these tracks. I mean, as I said before, I don't think that all the instrumentals match well with the lyrics. I would appreciate, or, if the instrumentals were a bit more aggressive at times, or maybe if the lyrics were a bit less aggressive at times to kind of match the two up better. But, the instrumentals on their own I think are really good. I especially like the track "Scum." It has a really cool kind of instrumental part to it that's kind of electronic and a bit more aggressive in my opinion, and the lyrics here, while they are a bit political, I think that's one of the better political tracks on the album. The lyrics, kind of calling out people that are, scum in a sense, it's definitely something that's not exactly new or presented in a super new way, but it's not quite as cringy, I guess you could say. I hate using that word, but still, you get what I mean. Definitely the high point on this album in my opinion. I just think it's a really cool jam. And "Scum" isn't the only point on the album where the lyrics are good, in my opinion. Not all the songs here are, like, super... I mean, the album as a whole is overtly political, but there are some tracks that, kind of taken on their own, aren't, super political in their own way. Or either that or the way the lyrics are written make it so that, it's a bit more tolerable, in my opinion. A lot towards the middle of this album, really. It's mostly the first 3 tracks and some of the tracks at the end that are a bit more political. Just kind of this in-between part of the album. Things, I think, lyrically start to get a lot better, in my opinion. Or at least, you can kind of focus away from the lyrics without having to hear "the train is coming" over and over again. I also really enjoy the vocals on the album. I mean, while the lyrics themselves, as I said before, aren't something I'm a super big fan of, the vocals that are delivering them, I do enjoy. And that's something that, hasn't really changed for Depeche Mode based on the album from them that I've heard, but here, it's not really any different. I enjoy the vocals, and, the lyrics are kind of the only weak point on this album, in my opinion. And I know I spent a lot of time, talking about them. It's just something that I wanted to make it clear, just given how, the political atmosphere right now, how I don't want people taking my words and, morphing them to something that, it's not something I intended to say. I'm not saying I disagree with them here, but the way they're delivering it is not something I'm a fan of, overall. That's really the only weak point of the album, though, in my opinion. I mean, some of the instrumentals and some of the tracks aren't the most memorable thing in the world, but it's all pretty tolerable. There's nothing here that's very overtly bad. And yeah, it's overall a pretty decent album, in my opinion. If you're a fan of Depeche Mode, I still recommend you check it out, even though, like I said before, some of the lyrics aren't exactly my cup of tea, but you're still probably going to like stuff here. As I said before, the instrumentals are pretty nice, the vocals are nice, and the lyrics at times on certain tracks do work, in my opinion. If you are a fan of synth pop, alternative rock, electronic rock, you should consider checking this out. I mean, Depeche Mode are kind of a big band in this genre, so if you listen to that kind of music, you're probably already familiar with them. And if you watch Fox News, please stay as far away from this album as you possibly can, because you're not going to like it. But overall, that was just my opinion. You're free to have your own, and I'd like to see it down in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because we got some more cool album reviews coming up soon, and I don't want you to miss out on those. Yeah, thanks for watching, and stay golden.